Hey YouTube, Unknown Gamer here, and as you can see, we're facing Iowa here in our fourth game of the year, and oh wow, they first one we've had go out of the back of the end zone this year, and as you see, Derek Reynolds is an impact player, and of course he is. He's done a great job this year for us, and you know what? First play, I don't want to take a shot downfield, but I do want to run a play action pass, and actually I did forget to put Mike. Yeah, we're going to go back to the play action pass. Forgot to put Mike Rogers as backup. I'll do that later after this drive. I'll put him in there as backup. And Richards' first pass is a great 19-yard catch there for David Richards. In case you missed last episode, the reason I said I want to get Mike Rogers game time is he did an amazing job. Watch the last little bit of the last game and you'll see he by far earned every minute of playing time that he'll get this year in one game. It was like Derek Reynolds last year. He just caught fire. He didn't catch fire, it's just he was boom. He trucked people, nobody could stop him, and he actually ended up, he has the second most yards, and he played for one quarter. I'm going to give him and Cormier today to battle it out. They're going to be switching probably every single possession. You'll probably see him switch. Because he's in a position battle right now. Cormier is, and so is Mike Rogers. And right now, Rogers is winning. After today, Cormier's had right around the same amount of rushing yards. So after today, whoever has the most rushing yardage is the winner. They win, and they will be starting for the rest of the season. That's what I'm at right now. That's the only way I can think of to decide the starter running back is rushing yards. I feel like that's the most appropriate to decide a running back is who has the most rushing yards. We're not going to settle with being stopped on our first drive. We do not get stopped on our first drive. That's not how we go here in Arizona. Pierre Cormier, he actually broke a few tackles right there and does pretty good, and that gets counted as a pass. That's gotta suck for Cormier. He's in a position battle for running back, and here's a good, decent run being counted as a pass. He can't take that stuff right now. So after today, if he has more yards and not an extreme amount of more rushes, like say he has 20 more rushes, I'm going to take that into account. And if he's hardly beating him with that many more rushes, he won't be starting next week then. Then we'll see Mike Rogers starting at running back for the first time in his career. And that would say a lot because Barrett Dixon, somebody who I thought would come here and be a backup, and Mike Rogers would just always be stuck in that backup role. Right now, he's looking like he's in a battle to be a starter right now. And also, something else I'd like to talk about is the fact that we are still going for Justin Rhodes. Even if Mike Rogers does end up being the starter, Michael Rhodes will not be ditched. That kid has potential, and I think he very easily could end up being a star player. And there goes Pierre Cormier with the touchdown on the first drive. And yeah, I'm starting to take a little bit of stuff out of my Navy playbook here. Because like I said, these are the same playbooks. I'm starting to rely a little bit more on that, see what's going on there. Try and use some of that stuff to push the envelope a little bit more on my Arizona Dynasty. Who knows? Maybe I pull out a 2-quarterback set. Yeah, what happens when you run a full-out blitz and they pass the ball on the first play? They get a big play. 44 yards to be exact. I brought a full-out blitz and I actually thought for sure that they were going to run the ball. And right here they run the ball and we're not bringing the blitz and they get... I thought for sure we were going to get that fumble recovery and I was going to be so excited. Because that's what we truly need right now. A fumble recovery would be great right now. Because In my mind, everything that just happened would be discounted. Would be, not discounted, but would never have happened. And we could go on to being a great defensive team. But also, this Iowa team is amazingly talented offensively. And so it's not that big of a deal that first play I brought a full-out blitz and got burned. I mean, it's a big deal, especially if we lose this game. It's definitely a big deal. If we lose it by less than a touchdown, it's even more of a big deal. Because if we lose it by like a field goal, it's definitely a big deal then, because then I cost us the game. Especially, but they don't get anything here. It's kind of a consolation prize. Yeah, we might have gotten beat early on, but we can still hold our ground. And that's what we're showing right here. Is this Arizona team, you can pin us down deep with our backs against the wall, but we're going to stand here and you're not going to score on us. We're gonna hound the crap out of you. And Capers gets him in the backfield for a 3-yard loss. And this is the guy that early in the year I didn't know if I was going to start him or not. I didn't think he had the coverage ratings. So far, he's made enough plays at the line of scrimmage that he's earned that spot. I thought about making him a defensive lineman actually at one point in the year, in the offseason, because he actually looked like a decent lineman. He would have been the starter, but he's making so many plays in the secondary. Like I said earlier, it's a good thing I didn't, because his senior year has been a standout year. Our secondary is... Last year, our secondary was strong. I don't think we might beat it sometime in the series, but not this year in the series. Not yet. We're not there yet. Because we had Jonathan McKnight, Bondurant, all these guys, and we had a lot of picks. This year, we're more of a stopping teams and keeping them in front of us and standing our ground inside the red zone type of team. We can keep teams out of the red zone, but I don't expect us to do it as much as we did last year. This year, I expect us to give up more points than we did. I expect us to give up less points than we did last year, only because I think we're an amazing red zone team. I think we can stop everybody in the red zone. And oh my gosh, we just muffed a kickoff return. And right now, Mike Rodgers now gets this drive. This is Mike Rodgers' drive to show what he can do. And right here we are, down by the end zone. And actually, Rodgers has done a very good job. So far, he's definitely worked on earning that starting spot. And based on how he's done so far today, I think he could almost win the yard battle if he does without even starting a drive, because he was injured for half that drive too. And he's still, I think he was up by 10 yards on Cormier coming into today. And I think right now he's up by maybe 5, or it's close to a tie, but I know Cormier probably has more rushing attempts than Rodgers does. Once again, we completely screw up in the passing game. I decided to bring a full-out blitz, and well, we've gotten burnt twice on it. But also this offense is really good. It wasn't so much we got burnt, it was more I made a bad read. In case they don't, though, I wanted to be out there just at least to make somewhat of a stop on them. But right here is we're just gonna try and keep Iowa away from this end zone. We're gonna try and keep them out of the 5-yardage zone, because that's where it's run or pass, and you don't really know which one. Inside of that, outside of it, it's pretty much pure pass, because there's not, when you're in the goal line, chances of breaking out a 6 or 7 yard rush are very, very little. So you'll see more right here. I guarantee you I would almost bet money on it that it's a pass play, because there's no point in running the ball, especially when you've been stopped on the last 2 plays. And right here, we do force another field goal, which is, like I said, I'm fine with allowing field goals in this one. As long as we don't lose games and we get a few stops, I have no problem with giving up 2. I don't have a problem with giving up 4 field goals in a game. As long as we get more than 12 points, I'm fine with it. If we win the game, I don't care how many field goals they get. As long as it's not every single drive, it's a field goal. As long as it's not that, I'm fine with the field goals. Right, we're just trying to get one more touchdown before half. So far, we've run a lot of corner strikes. So I want to see if a verticals play will get him. And as you see, Derek Reynolds not having the world's best day passing, but Griffey also hasn't been a part of the offense. It's something I've realized just now, really seeing Griffey out there. I realized we haven't gotten him the ball a lot today, and I think that might be something. I think that might be hurting our passing game. Is they're actually covering Griffey and they're covering our slot receivers. Everybody that we bring that's a third and below has been slowed down today. So it's a different type of feel. Normally, our third and below guys tend to get open against teams, but today's just not the case. As last year, our top receiver was James Bailey. This year, so far, our top receiver is Trey Griffey. The common thing with all these guys is they're right around the... Richards had a good season last year, too, rather than Warren or Hill. Our best receivers are always in the slot because that's the receiver that gets targeted the most. And it seems like they're the receiver that gets ignored the most by the opposing team. Which is why I always try and make sure I have 3 or 4 really good cornerbacks. That way I don't get burnt by a slot receiver. Oh gosh! Bad pass with a new. Bad pass with a new might just have put us in some bad waters. And I'm not going to say that's completely my fault there, because he was open. If you look at the play, he was open. Most quarterbacks could have hit him with a dime right there with how open he was. Instead, not even an incomplete pass, an interception that when we could have gotten a field goal, instead we're stuck here with an interception. Come on, Burton, get to him. Nobody comes down with it. It falls incomplete, and that will be how the first half ends. Because we're going to stop him for the first time without a field goal or anything. Which, the reason I don't care about field goals and stuff is if you watch the national championship game, that game, when we ended up kicking that field goal, even though we had one heck of a drive, we ended up settling for field goal. And because of that, at the end of the game, when it could have been a tie or a 7-point game, instead it was a 3 or 4 point game. So it changed so much. There were points in that game we could have been up 7-0 instead, up by 7. Instead we were only up by 4. And there were points where we could have been in a tie. Instead we were down by 3. And that last drive is one of the points where we could have been in a tie right there. Field goal wins the game. Instead we had to take a chance and risk pounding the ball up the middle. That's the difference one field goal will make. It almost cost us a national championship, having to settle for a field goal. So if that can be a difference in a national championship game, imagine what it can do in just a regular season game. Or against a team that you're up by 10 on, of just letting them get a field goal instead of a touchdown. That's the difference between okay, how are we going to keep the game where it is type scenario, and okay, how are we going to keep them from getting a blowout or coming back and taking the lead? How do we keep that from happening? And right here, as you hear, they're having some trouble stopping our offense and getting us off the field. And Derek Reynolds keeps it going. And we are just... This is a glimpse back at the Kadeem Carey days where we would run the ball like crazy against teams. Because Derek Reynolds is just destroying teams on the ground today. And right here, if it works, it works. In California, who we don't play this year, but we could end up playing in a national championship. Not in a national championship, in a Pac-12 championship. If they keep playing like this, we'll end up having to play them there. Because first, they showed Oregon what it meant to get beat. What we did to Oregon last year wasn't that bad because we won the national championship. it's not terrible. First week back with the quarterback, stuff like that. You look at the situation, it was a game you shouldn't expect to beat a team that fights for a national championship in. I mean, you always expect to beat them, but they had a lot of stuff going against them. And then also, second that that fumble got overruled, it was game-changing. Right there is almost game over. Because their whole attitudes changed. And then, but this year, they lost to Cal. And that was Cal's game. That was the game that Cal said, hey, we're not what everybody thinks we are. And also, so that says a lot about what Cal did in that game. Because they beat them by, I think it was like 31 to, I don't even know what. I didn't even want a timeout, but okay. I guess, I guess Burton wanted one. But actually, that only gives us more of a confusing play. And yep, they're going to run the ball, and Bush Lou's going to run right into him and then say, no, I don't want to tackle him, and run away. But we had that sniffed out, and then the game just, timeout. I don't like the fact that we know exactly what they're doing. And that cost us. Cover 3, and it's going to be a pass. Oh, never mind, it's going to be a designed run. And Reddock is going to get destroyed as he keeps the ball there. Yeah, this Reddock kid is actually not that bad. But the bad thing is he takes hits, and he's not afraid of them. And that's what's going. I could have told you from the very beginning, him not shying away from those hits was going to cost him at some point. Because every quarterback. I'm sorry, but it's true. A lot of quarterbacks will at least fumble the ball once if they keep running into plays like that. And unless you're an athlete and you're supposed to play running back. And I don't think that's what this Reddock kid was. I think he was just a balanced quarterback. You know what? I want to put this game out of reach, and that's what I'm trying to do here. As actually, it is Cormier's turn to start getting some plays going. But Rogers just trucks a guy and then gets stopped short. But now, yeah, it's Cormier's turn to get some plays. Let's see what Cormier can do. As this is, like I said, this is the running backs game. They're duking it out for the starting spot. And I know it's a little bit late to start duking it out for a starting spot, but this is the week after Mike Rogers had a breakout game. It's time that they duke it out mid-game. I felt there wasn't a better game for them to go back and forth in than actual live game. Because then it's one thing to be good in practice, it's another thing to be good once you're out there against a real thing. And Cormier hits the corner. And right now, Cormier actually is trying. I think he's starting to realize what's going on. And he's possibly losing his spot. So he's trying to get some of his yards up there. But also, when you bring pressure like this, you're going to get burnt deep. Especially by Richards. And David Richards gets a touchdown, and right here, not the world's best day throwing for Derek Reynolds. This is a look back at his freshman year. Although he has not thrown a single incompletion, he hasn't gotten a lot of attempts. So that's why I'm saying it's a glimpse back at his freshman year. Because his freshman year, which was last year, it was more of a running year because it's Kadeem Carey's final year. We had gotten a quarterback like Derek Reynolds. And also, although our wide receivers were amazing, I just felt like with a freshman quarterback and a quarterback who the year before threw a decent amount of picks, it wasn't a good year to really sit back and throw the ball. This year, after Derek Reynolds proving himself a few times in the national championship, I felt like it was time to let go a little bit and let him throw the ball more. And so far this year, it's worked out amazing. Today, we saw a hole in their Iowa defense, which was their lack of ability to stop the run, so we attacked it. What you should do when you find a hole in the opposing team's defense. It was like when we played Indiana on my online Dynasty. Late in the game, we found the one thing that we had that Indiana didn't, and we knew it all game that we were tougher than Indiana. Question was, when was it going to show? It took a little bit to show, but once we got down the stretch, it showed up. Today, we knew we were a much better team. We knew that we could beat Iowa. We just needed to wait until we found what we could do to stop them. Second, our defense stepped up. Our offense started to step up too. And once you get your offense and your defense starting to click at the same time, it doesn't matter how bad of a team you are or how good of a team you are. You can't be stopped. Because once they both start clicking, it's game. There's no hope of a comeback. Yeah, right when I stopped recording, our defense decides to have a rain fart right here. And as you see, Babish gets beat off the line, and then Ani Wasser gets the ankle tackle, just can't finish it. And then Albert Smith was coming from the other side of the field, but just didn't have the speed. And how they're going to go for two, can't really blame them. I mean, in this situation, you're trying to just make the game look better. Make it 2 scores isn't that bad against a team that won the national championship last year and has a lot of returning starters. That's not that bad. And California in the third quarter is beating USC, and this is looking a lot like when we first started our real dynasty. We became a dynasty a few years ago when we beat USC. That's really was where it started, was at USC when. That's when we started to get that's when we started getting noticed nationwide. That's when teams started to realize, the polls started to prove that we weren't that bad of a team. Oh wow, Cormier still having some troubles running the ball here, I guess. And actually, you know what? Let's throw a little bit some here to throw them off, because I know that they're gonna keep coming at us. They want to make. There's still a small possibility of them winning this game. So I don't expect them to let off at all. But what I do expect is for our offense to keep firing at all cylinders, which is what we're doing. We're not giving up. Just because we have a good lead doesn't mean we sit back and let them come at us. And let's see. They're going to expect Cormier to get the ball, and Derek Reynolds. I was trying to get Derek Reynolds to the corner, and as you see, the Hawkeye knows what just happened. The Iowa Hawkeyes have just pretty much lost the game. There's not a lot of hope left now. Second, Derek Reynolds got that corner. Well, he never did get the corner, but if he would have gotten that corner, there would have been a lot less of a chance. You know what, I want to try something right here. This curl flat play. I want to see if we can get a touchdown off of it for Newell, because I want to see if they do slip out with Newell. I didn't think that they would slip out with him, but Derek Reynolds, he'll take that gap right up the middle. Now I'm starting to really become annoyed with the defense, because now we're letting teams get the ball deep on us and go for yards. Because now back-to-back plays they've gotten through the air have been good yardage. And this, a lot like last year, where we got beat deep. Oh! But Jackson, why? I didn't even hit LB, and he just goes, you take it, I don't want it. But yeah, that pretty much ends the game, and yeah, I'm still going to. I wanted to see what look we would get right there if we came out and passed. I wanted to make sure that they weren't gonna full out blitz us, because I hate it when teams do that late in a game, especially late in a game. When they do that whole full out blitz just because they know that the other team's going to try and be nice and run the ball. And that's what they're going to do. Full out blitz because we're running the ball. So guess what? You do that, I got a little play that might just work on you. And it looks like it will because they're going to go up on our guys. And that's a bad idea, dude, because we got fat. Because we are fast as crap. And Derek Reynolds is actually going to take it himself and just burn these guys. He almost has 150 yards rushing, and that's impressive. Especially from a quarterback, because he's a Heisman winner. I feel he should be. Thanks. We're going to fade route with Bailey and see what happens. Oh, that's golden. That is golden if Bailey doesn't run too far. Bailey ran too far. And that's what happens when you run too far, is your quarterback ends up trying to get you the ball, but you're too far ahead of him. I knew we were just getting near the area where it wasn't going to work. So I decided I'd wait another second and hope that he has a better arm than I thought. And well, what we learned there, kids, was you do not wait. If you get a chance to get big yards, throw it immediately. Because there's a small opening where I could have thrown it in, gotten an easy 15-20 yards, end of game right there. Instead, I decided we had to wait. Now, why are they spiking the ball here? They're down 35-14, so they spike the ball. Well, that's one way to be remembered as a team that I don't schedule again, because I'm sorry, I'm not going to schedule a team that if I beat you like this, you just keep trying to prolong it. That makes no sense. And then they called a timeout. Are you serious? They called a timeout so they could punt the ball. Yeah, you showed us. You showed up your non-giving up mentality with punt on 4th down after you called the timeout. If you're going to call a timeout, go ahead and try and do something. If you play me in the online Dynasty and you're down by that and you're going to... I expect you to keep trying to win. But if you're going to call timeouts like that, don't just call timeout and then punt the ball or spike the ball to run the ball. If you're late in the game, play it like it's a 3-point game. Don't play it like it's a 21-point game if you're going to call timeouts. It's one thing if you're going to admit there's 10 seconds left, your chances of comeback are very low. It's one thing if you're going to do that, then I'm fine with running the ball. It's another thing if you're not going to admit it and you're going to keep fighting. I'm fine with that. Just don't call timeouts to punt the ball. Don't call timeouts to run the ball. Don't call timeouts just to sit there and try and upset me. Don't do that. I just didn't like the way that they did that. I don't like it when the CPU does. I hate it. And next week is a bye week, so that'll be a bye week update, and we'll look at the rest of the schedule in that video, and then we'll also look at recruiting. And until next time, like, comment, and subscribe.